thank you for joining us on episode 2 of Casita del Sol. Woo! Look what came in the mail, girl.
Why
Look
you
at
looking
that.
like a baddie
I
though?
know. If you guys can't see, you can just check us out on YouTube or the video. Watch the video. There's pros. You get to see our fine selves.
I feel like you should film the whole thing with that. For anybody that doesn't know, Carla has a lovely obsession with sunglasses, and it's very healthy because she looks bad in all of them. And so I saw these, which shout out to Covedosa. It's a collab they did with Gleam. And I immediately was like, oh, my amiga needs these because, yeah. And why do they look, are they like a pearlized pink?
Yeah,
I can't tell.
they're
They
like
look
they're almost like a pink amethyst.
I love this for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the gift. I love them. They're so cute. Yeah, so anyways, how was your weekend?
Oh my God, girl. Okay, so this is a really good thing. I'm glad you asked that. I am making more of a conscious effort because I work from home, not to work from home on my days off. And so this is now, a weekend where I told myself I was not going to work, even though I wanted to work and I had plans to work. That's the funny thing. I gave myself like, oh, Saturday I'm going to do this. Sunday I'm going to do this. I did not do any of those things, and I actually enjoyed my weekend. So on Saturday, our neighbors came over. I was in the pool all day. I might have been buzzed. Yeah, I was pretty buzzed. And I was just chilling, living life. And then yesterday, those same neighbors invited my son and I out on the Delta in their boat. And that was pretty wild for the first time. I'm pretty adventurous, but I got into one of those like rafts that they connect to the boat.
I saw that. They were moving fast.
That was wild, Carla. I was like literally sitting on that with my son here and my neighbor, and she's like laughing with her Coors Light like nothing. And I'm just like, this is the most rush I've had in a really long time.
You guys were moving so fast. I'm like, holy, they're not gonna fly out of there.
I mean, I did it once. I'm glad I did it. I mean, I've ziplined and done adventurous things, but that was wild. You literally feel like you are floating on water. It is crazy, but it was great. And the whole time I was sitting there saying, I'm so glad I'm not working and actually enjoying my weekend off and not feeling guilty about it. Not feeling guilty that I slept in, not feeling guilty because again, you know how it is when you work from home. You sometimes it's like you get sucked in. You're like looking at that laptop. Ooh, let me go create content or looking. And so to be able to step away, that was beautiful. How was your weekend though?
That's lovely. I love that. Thank you. I was just recovering. I was in LA last week, so I was like out and about, you know. I even ended up in a picket line by accident. I support.
Were you at SAG-AFTRA? Like
Google told me to go one way. I left Sephora and I went, like a total tourist. I was walking, and then I got stuck in one of these things, and it was like a long lineup, and everybody was holding signs. and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Google told me to go this way. He's like, it's okay. We can get you a sign. And I'm like, I gotta go though, and I like made a run for it, but I was in line with them for like a good 10 minutes.
I
It's
love
so
that.
awkward.
But you're like, but what y'all? Okay, I support y'all. I was like, what
I
y'all doing?
support you, but I gotta go this way.
But I gotta get home.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How was content creating in LA last week? How was that?
You know what? I didn't do a lot of content creating only because like it was in Culver City. So
Okay.
that's gonna be like where I'm gonna be going for work or whatever. So I was just getting to know the landscape, and getting to know what was around. I walked
Assessing
so
your
much.
situation, right? Like canvassing the area. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
I've been learning a lot about the area and like what the opportunities are, and I'm very reflective. So sometimes I can be impulsive, and sometimes I'm just like I really need to like think about this here.
Yeah.
But I
And
did
that's okay. Like finding that balance of like, I think there's some things in our life that we can be impulsive about. I think this weekend, me just saying, F it, I'm not going to work was a very impulsive decision because I literally did have a scheduled work. And then I was like, it's okay to veer off track sometimes. Like if it's beneficial, because I did post something today. My chingona advice of the day on Threads was Stay in your lane because you're exactly where you're meant to be.
I love that. I needed that to hear. I needed to hear that because that brings me like right into like my situation and how I've been trying to scale, and you were helping me for a while there, and it was going great. Um, but you have a lot of stuff. You got a lot of stuff going on, right? Like you got a lot. It's a lot. You have
It's
two
a lot.
businesses, and then I'm asking you to worry about mine. It's a lot. So I feel that, and I'm like, okay. And then I was thinking, we've had so many conversations. It's like the realization that I don't want to scale. I think I felt a lot of pressure to be in retail, you know, and
I think we all did.
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
still very, I think we all still do. I think that's across the board. Would you say for any brand that launches, it's like there is that pressure of
yeah,
saying it isn't enough to just be a really successful brand that maybe makes six figures from home and is not in retail?
yeah. But there's even I wasn't even chasing it, but it kept coming after me. Like people are like, I want wholesale, I want this, I want that, and like, you're feeling this call to expansion, but like what's tricky where people don't realize when you're small and self-funded, like you're asking small businesses to have the infrastructure of like a corporation, like a huge like Amazon. We cannot like I don't know what the solution is, but it was just really overwhelming for me, and it was taking some of the fun out of it. So I am slowing down on production on direct to consumer for casita candles. So I'm having a sale right now. If you guys see something that you want, grab it because there's no guarantees it's coming back. And I'm just like taking it a little bit easier. And people have been coming to me for like more custom projects. And I think that that's a little bit more in my wheelhouse,
I
to
feel
be
like
honest.
that, knowing you, I feel like that's speaking more to you. I feel like that's where you can still be you without the pressure of everything else.
Yeah, because I'm realizing, I'm a lot more of a creative than I am a businesswoman, and it's like a lot. It's more than anyone tells you.
It
A
is.
lot more.
I mean, it's even more than I can do these reels and videos and tell people over and over till I'm blue in the face. And I think until they're in the thick of it and experience it themselves, it's
Yeah.
different. It looks different for everybody.
Yeah. And we don't share our fails, we only share our successes because it's a business, and
Yeah.
that makes sense. But, it's tricky, and honestly, I think I just want to be more intentional with my product development, and eventually I don't want to pour candles anymore, right? Because I'm trying to build like a lifestyle where I can live anywhere. That's the goal.
They're trying to be out there, y'all, giving you the chisme, the wellness, everything. And we need to support our friend in
Oh,
that.
thank
I'm
you.
gonna I'm gonna just tell y'all right now, for anybody that watches this, we need to support her. We don't need to question. That's another thing. We don't need to question. Well, why? Well, why is she not doing this? Oh,
Oh,
what could have
fuck.
happened? Because
Yeah.
the chisme is always like, oh, well, maybe she wasn't that successful, or maybe it wasn't lucrative, or maybe
Mhm.
no. Here is somebody being vulnerable and saying, I just wasn't having fun anymore. I wasn't doing something that was fulfilling. So now I'm gonna go do whatever the fuck I want, excuse my
Yeah.
language, and
Yeah.
do me and be happy. And I think it's so bold and brave because you're doing it saying, I may or may not fail, and that's okay, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
go do something that I wanna do. And I'm supporting you, and I hope that your community, the same way they supported you when you launched Casita Candles, I want y'all to support her Carla Corazon in this because, like, I feel like even just some of the blog posts you've done already now, for me, it's hit home. I read it and I'm like, these are the things, just even your blurbs, like, if you could go back in time and say things, and you had 5 minutes to tell 15-year-old Carla or Michelle a few things, what would it be? And it really makes us look deep, and we're healing our inner niñas, we're
Right.
healing generational trauma. So
Right.
I really love that for you. I know that people might say, oh, well, there's enough influencers and enough content, but I think that if you're really honing into what makes you happy, There's only
Yeah.
one you, and the way you're delivering it and how you're delivering your story. We always say this, even in branding, your story is your story, and it's different from the person next to you. So I'm here for it. I want to hear
Thank
it. I
you.
support
Thank
you.
you.
I love you.
I appreciate that so much. And it's like it's not that it was somebody's like, don't feel bad that it was a failure. I'm like, it's not a failure. Are you kidding me?
See?
There was so it's I'm overwhelmed with the demand, to be
Yeah,
honest. It's like too much.
yeah,
And the other thing is, honestly, Michelle, like, I know people get MBAs for the connections, but having started a business right before the pandemic, I have met the most amazing network of entrepreneurs. All of us kind of like stepped up to the plate, and an MBA could never, like the sense of community that I've been gifted.
yeah.
I
Oh, girl, we
that's
come from the school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's our
There's no
degree, and I'm
help.
okay with that.
There's no nepotism connections, nothing.
Yeah,
Just being heart led and
yeah,
the right people finding you,
yeah.
hopefully.
Carving out your own path, and what does that look like? And that's what you're
Yeah.
continuing to do right now. I know that that has been something that's been different for us. And I've even
Mhm.
shared struggles of like
Yeah.
what I thought I wanted 3 years ago when I started, even a year ago, to fast forward to now.
Yeah.
And I'm okay to admit that I feel like that's still changing as I grow and scale. I still have internal conversations of what I'm comfortable with, what does that look like, the life I want. I remember a year ago you being in my garage and seeing how hard I work.
Oh yeah. That was another influence. I'm like, oh fuck this. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Right turn. Hard
Um,
left.
I was about a life that not many people should be about. So I'll
No.
just say, I mean, and that's not to say that people don't work hard. I just didn't always have the healthiest ways of working. I realize that now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it's also what's gotten me to where I'm at. So there's the give and take. I'm okay with that, but
yeah,
I'm also a little disappointed in myself because I look at this newer generation. They're working smarter, not harder, and I'm still trying to figure that out. And
yeah,
so even fast forward to now, when you a year ago were in my garage and asked me what would it look like in 5 years, scaling and you being happy. And for me, and I'm going to say this because I'm still on that, the same answer I gave you in my garage is still the same. I don't think I want a warehouse. So many people can't believe that I'm manufacturing thousands of candles a
mhm,
month in my home studio garage that we've retrofitted to make into a candle studio, right? And we have pouring stations, and three of us could work in there at one time. Um, I don't want to leave home. There's various reasons. I
mhm.
homeschool my son. I have been for a while. We have a structured kind of routine. My husband, myself, and my son at home. Working from home just affords me a lot of things that I didn't have growing up.
Right.
To be, as a child of a single mom, so to be
Right.
able to, yes, I work really hard, but be home for my son. Um, and then
Yeah.
work with my husband in a very unique situation, and then also be able to just roll out of bed and do whatever I want to do. I find a sense of peace in that, and it works for
Mhm.
me because
Yeah.
a lot of people are always like, why aren't you in a warehouse and you should be in a warehouse? And then when I think about it, my goal would be to hopefully in a few years get a bigger home where I have a little bit more land and I can build my own like manufacturing studio. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be anything big, probably bigger than what I have now, but that is the dream for me, and that hasn't changed because again, it works for me. It works for my vision of what I view as comfortable, successful, and so I'm figuring out how to get there, and I'm okay with taking my time. I think that I thought this was a sprint versus a marathon. And now, I'm really trying to be about the advice that I give. So when I say stay in your lane and don't take any detours, like where I'm at right now, I think I was being very hard on myself. Like, oh, at 3 years in business, I should be here and here and here. And then I'm realizing for being 3 years in business, I'm in places that other people wish they could be. And they're
Yeah, you
five,
did
8 years
great.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm exactly where I need to be. And, I'm going to keep growing and learning and going from there. currently, you know that we are working on the biggest order to date
Mhm.
of my career, and it's come with a lot of challenges. It's both exciting. I don't know what it's going to mean for us. I don't know if it's going to catapult my business where maybe other retail might find us and other big box stores. That's the goal, obviously, for more representation. Like, if I were to be truthful, like, the whole goal of working my ass off and doing these things, it's never really been about the money. Yes, I need to make money. Obviously, this is this is my
For
income.
your family, yeah.
Yeah, but it's about the representation, and it's about showing our community like we belong on these shelves and permanently, not just once
Yes.
a month, not during the
Yeah.
year. It's
Not
it's
just one of
showing,
us.
yeah, not just one of us. Somebody told me the other day, when I said it's sad that 2 years later, I said it's kind of sad that 2 years later I'm still the only like Latina candle brand at Macy's, and the person was like trying to put a spin on it, like, oh well, you should be so happy that they're like love your candles and all that, and I'm like, yeah, that's great and everything, but like, why are there like 10 candle brands of the same
Yeah.
ethnicity, and then like one of me and maybe two black owned candle brands, and I
Literally.
don't think there's an Asian owned candle brand. I don't know. It's like, yes, obviously I love the business. Obviously it is benefiting myself, but I don't think it's benefiting our community. And I'm okay
It's
saying that.
complicated. Yeah, I think it's complicated the relationship with retail. I think a lot of it is super validating, and I think parts of me were very concerned that it's like validating to the white gaze. But I hear also what you're saying is like that representation to see that product on the shelf
Yeah.
like that is also a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a complicated relationship with our like perceived value and external validation and like respectability politics, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and wouldn't you want to have options? Like, I think about it, like, again, I want to tippy toe of what I'm saying because I'm so grateful for my partnership and the opportunity,
of
and
course, of
obviously
course.
obviously the investing back in my brand. Like, the partnership I have is very much that they're also saying we're investing our DEI initiatives in you because it is helping me as a small business. Absolutely, it's 100% helping me reach my financial goals. It's
Right.
also helping me create more visibility just for my brand and everything. But then I think about the like Latina owned or BIPOC owned products that I buy. When it comes to like skincare or hair care or even jewelry, I do like to have more than one option. And that's kind of
Mhm.
nice that like in the
Yeah.
makeup space, there's several Latina owned
Hmm.
makeup brands now. So it's like,
Yeah.
shout out to Vive, that's where my lipsticks from my Mac.
I love
But then I
you.
also love Luna Magic, and so I buy a
Yeah.
little bit of this, and then I buy a palette from here. I do like that I have like options. There's so many now
Yeah.
beautiful Latinas in that space. Same for hair care, curly hair products. I love that there's more than like one Latina owned brand now to support.
Yeah.
So, um, I know that we have a beautiful community of Latina owned candle makers, and there are definitely some of them that I would not mind. They won't take away from my shine. I would not mind seeing them in big
Hmm.
box retails on shelves, and so
Yeah.
um, that's what I'm rooting for. Like, from a really genuine place, community offer competition, because I feel like when one of us succeeds, we all succeeds. It helps like the story. It helps the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I don't need to be everywhere. I need to be exactly where I'm at right now. And it's kind of nice. You and I have talked about it. It's kind of nice, like when we get featured on the same articles,
Yeah.
when we get shout outs, from, big media like Fierce by Me
Yeah.
Too and things like that. It's really nice when they are sharing the love. And like, I feel so like honored to be in such a group of like what we
Oh
call
my
it
God.
candle primas. Like,
Those were my retail moments. I didn't get like big retail, but those were my retail moments. Those features from the
yeah,
comunidad. I'm like,
yeah.
oh my God, I can die happy now.
Yeah. And then it's funny because I don't think people realize that I sometimes fangirl over other candle brands. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my God, I'm in the same article with this girl.
I know. The one where I was with
Like,
Brenda Negra, I was like, oh my God.
right? And it's like, I'm kind of like, I'm in good company. So it's
Yeah.
kind of nice. It's kind of nice to like, I don't know. I just get giddy when I see another product like launching in big retail. I'm like, yes. It's like I look at it like a win for our
Right.
community. You know, like, yes, another one I can find in a big box store.
Yeah. And you know what I'm really excited about is the emergence of like Latina owned retail, or like, so you know our Paradiso, they're online right now, but eventually they're gonna have a store.
Oh
And
my God.
I need to go to New York because I want to check out Chill House in Soho. I feel
Imagine
like
that.
there's
Imagine like a headquarter, like that in real life where you literally walk in and see
oh shit.
yourself in every facet.
To be spoiled for choice, you know, like
That's just,
woo.
there's so much power in that. Like, because think about it. Why can't we have our own Sephora or Ulta? Like, there's
Yeah,
space. You know what I'm saying? There's
definitely.
space for that where you walk in and it's nothing but women owned, BIPOC owned brands that are curated, they're quality, but there's that space for us. And I don't think it's taking away from anything else that exists. I think
Yeah.
it's just adding another thing for us to see ourselves in. That's the thing.
Yeah. It's like beauty for the Latina gays, you know, like it's redone for us, and to have to be catered to like that, to have that, like it's a love language, man. It's a love language, and
Definitely.
I'm like here for it.
Definitely. I know it's funny how something can make you feel. I know I'm giving a lot of shout outs today, but I tried a new body oil this weekend from Brujita. You know I love Brujita, right?
You
So
love
like
Brujita, yeah.
I am I'm a hey, she calls it a cult for a reason and I'm in the cult. Okay. So like I use obviously their serum, their moisturizer, their other, but she has a new body oil. Girl, I don't know what it is. Like, you know, el olfato. So I put a
Hmm.
few drops last night, and then again this morning. And I was like smelling on myself. Like I was obsessed with myself. It is like a blend of Palo Santo and Gardenia. But I felt so, it's funny how one little thing, a few
Hmm.
drops of a body oil, because we talk about self care here.
Yeah.
I sat there last night and my thoughts just loving on myself. I was like rubbing my skin. I was like, it felt so soothing. I felt so beautiful. It was like crazy. And imagine if we could have that 365 days of the year, like
Yeah.
to feel those things,
Yeah.
to buy products that are like for us and make us feel those
To feel
type of
beautiful
things.
and cared for, you know?
Yeah, I really thought there was a lot of, it's a new product they've launched and I was like, y'all did amazing by the way. It's yeah, it made me feel all type of things. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy, but it made me, and I've never used body oil. So that's what's crazy. I was like, "Oh, body oil? Are you gonna feel greasy? Is it like I never used body oil before? Like I
Yeah.
love all my face oils, but this one said don't use it on your face. It's a body oil." And so I went on YouTube. I'm like, "Oh, do I do a few drops?" And I was like, you know, and a few drops, and then you rub it in. But it's
Mhm.
just, it's those are the things. Those are
Yeah.
the little things that I just feel like we didn't grow up
Yeah.
enjoying, seeing. And then you see all these other races like it's nothing, like that's been a thing, you know, like, and they embrace it. So, like, oh, it's nothing to
Yeah.
treat myself to this. I want to be on that level where we normalize getting facials monthly, getting, you know,
Yeah.
spa treatments.
Yeah.
Like, I want to normalize that those aren't things that we should just get to treat ourselves occasionally. Like, I
Hmm.
want to normalize that taking care of our skin, taking care of like how we feel, like our nails, things like that. If you're into it, like, let's normalize like constantly doing those things. It's maintenance to feel good.
Yeah. I feel like what you touching on, like, is like validating a lot of femme self-care rituals, you know, because I think in the past it's been seen as anything too hyper femme considered is seen as like frivolous and silly,
Boom.
or for
Oh,
white people, not for us. You can't be
yes.
silly like that. And I think we're coming full circle, like women now, we've got the jobs, we have the say in our own personal lives, you know. And for me, my nails are like look, this one fell off. I've been experimenting with gel X, okay.
Y'all,
Anyways, this
I
hand.
want to say that, like, I think I put a little bug in her because when she came to stay with me,
Yeah,
I was like, we got our
you
nails
did.
done.
You
And then
got me
after
all
that,
my nails
well, I
now.
told you, remember I told you, I said, when everything else in life fails and I look at my hands,
Yeah,
I feel good. Like
that
once
stuck
a
with
day,
me.
just looking at my hands.
Like,
I'm
oh
like,
shit.
I could have no makeup on. The world could be crumbling. And I look at my hands and I'm like, all is better in the world.
I think that's so powerful. It like I've learned a lot about like talismans. So people sometimes carry like a specific talisman that, reminds them of something. And I think like my nails are kind of become that. They're like jewelry that I get to see. That is not for other people to see, it's for me to see.
And
I
think of
get
how
you.
often you use your hands. Like all the time. Latinos, we're very expressive. I use
Yeah.
my hands a lot
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
express things. So I think it just makes me feel, I notice that it really messes my mood when I don't have my nails, or when I'm like, I notice that it just affects my whole like vibe and my mood and how I
Hmm.
see myself. And for some people, for my daughter, it's her lashes. She could have no makeup on, but my baddie always got her lashes because,
Yeah.
again, it's whatever makes you feel good, beautiful. And then instead of chastising each other, or the word you said, frivolous, I feel like I heard that word so much growing up. Like, that's frivolous. That's a frivolous expense. Be more frugal. Don't do that. And then I used it for so long because I was like, I need to be frugal. That's frivolous. And then my daughter realized, like, frugal. Like, she's the one that's been helping me drop that word frugal. Like, there's nothing frugal about taking a vacation. You worked hard for it, own it, accept it,
Yep.
celebrate it. Boom.
Yep.
No need to be frugal on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, live
Absolutely.
within your means, y'all. Okay. Like, I'm not telling
Yeah,
y'all.
we're not, yeah, live within your means,
Yeah.
but like I think culturally, when we're talking about like generational trauma, a lot of some of that is financial trauma, and not understanding, not being as financially literate as we'd like to be. And it's an ongoing process, man. Like it's a lot. I think that when we think about generational wealth or generational privilege, like there's a lot in there, like I don't know. Nobody taught me about finances growing up.
Yeah.
Like, I think for you it was different because your mom was.
Yeah. Oh, she was definitely, me and my brother are like the ones, the finance people in our house. But I don't even think it was, if I'm being transparent, it was the pros and cons of what not to do with your money. It wasn't even that we got classes
Mm,
of like
okay.
what, because, I lost my mom to a very young age to cancer. And I remember my brother always used to get on her towards the last few years of like just spending her money and racking up credit cards. And now I look at my mom like, I don't know if she knew she was going to die, but that woman lived her life. And what my mom used to say, ¿para qué ahorrar tesoro si el día de mañana no es prometido? So, like, you're like saving all these treasures and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so why not like enjoy them? It's like, and where's the balance? It's like, yeah, you don't want to go off and not think about your future
Yeah.
financially and things like that. And I've shared, like, it's hard,
Hmm.
it's very stressful being the breadwinner in my family and thinking about my family, running two businesses and thinking for the future. But I also realize that I need to give myself compassion. I'm not going to be broke the day of tomorrow. I tell my son, we're not rich and we're not poor, we're middle class. What does that look like? What does that mean? I have those conversations with him because I want
Hmm.
him to value money. Those were things that were not discussed with me. I want him to know that we don't mind buying you things. And yes, you obviously have had more than both my husband and I have had growing up. But I want him to not feel guilty about the things that he has. That's the
Yeah.
one thing that I don't want. And I always tell him, I do not mind spoiling you and giving you the world as long as you're appreciative and you understand the concept of money. Because that's what I don't want, is for him to feel bad that he has his own room and he has things that I didn't have as a kid, that his father didn't have as a kid, because he has two parents who love him and work really hard to provide all these things. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with having all these things. Like, it's just, again, understanding the concept. And because we didn't grow up with that financial literacy or even those conversations, I think
Yeah.
that for me, I am thankful that my mom, I think more of like her hustle mentality and where she spent money and how she used it. My brother has taken portions of that. I've taken portions of that. I also look at my brother who's blue collar and he's used his money to create generational wealth by investing and buying homes. And I
Hmm.
admire that. I really look up to my bigger brother and hope to one day, be there.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, it's okay. Like, I'm learning, and it's, again, it's giving ourselves compassion, learning as we go. It's never too late. You and I are in our 40s and we're still learning things. Like, we're still learning as we go and figuring out what works for us. And
Mm-hmm.
this is really gnarly that we're having this, because 2 days ago, I don't know if you ever have conversations like this with your husband, but like, I walked into my bedroom, my husband was folding clothing, and I said, you know what I realized today? My home is enough. I think that sometimes we always like, I get sucked in and like, I want bigger, I want this. And then I walked around and realized I have everything that I need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we really put things in perspective, and I challenge everybody to do that, to just look at their assess their surroundings, look at everything that they have. And if somebody were really to ask you, do you have everything that you need to coexist, to function in life? I know that
Yeah.
I can personally say I have everything I need. It doesn't need to be the biggest house. I don't have the nicest gadgets. It's probably not furnished with the most high-end things, but
What
it's
a
very
beautiful pool.
cozy. I have
I
a
love
beautiful
the
pool,
pool.
y'all. Like, it's
Pool
it's it's
party.
very cozy and it's very warm and it's enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a beauty in accepting that and realizing that versus wanting more.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with wanting more, but it's okay to also be comfortable. And that's the balance that I think I'm trying to find as an entrepreneur. It's like, I have big dreams and I
Yeah.
want to follow them, but I don't want to feel like it's a rush to get to here, here,
Right.
here
A
in this
lot of
short
pressure.
amount of time.
Yeah. Because that isn't just, it's not just like the lack of like funding when you're doing it self-funded, but it's also the toll on your mental health, right? Like that kind of like high stakes pressure. Oh, this is the question I want to ask. If retailers could make things easier for you, if they could do something to help you out, what would that be?
To not treat all of us the same when it comes to having a net 60 term.
Tell
Um,
me.
I'm on a net 60. For those of you that don't know what that means, I do not get paid till a minimum of 60 days after a product is in hands, on shelves, already being sold. That means that sometimes I'm having to front anywhere from three to $20,000 in material and supplies ahead of time, out of my own pocket, to cover an order. There are things such as purchase order loans and things like that, but they come with interest that you're now having to give to somebody because they gave you a loan. There's obviously running lines of credit, all those things. I have not taken any of those yet, okay, for just personal reasons. So if I have had to front the money on my own, bootstrapping it, no grants, no loans, no capital,
Yeah.
to make this happen. This current order is, full transparency, running me over $10,000 in inventory and supplies that I will need to come up, and I will not see the money for this purchase order till probably November of
Wow.
this year. So that's full transparency. That's the reality. It is, when people say, but why can't you change it? I said, this is across the board, y'all. I'm going to tell you, this is not just exclusive to Macy's. So I'm not just throwing them under the
Please
bus.
no.
Full transparency. This is Nordstrom, Macy's, JCPenney, Sears. This is how most big box retail operates, anywhere from net 30, 60, and 90 days. It's just how it is. Okay. And I wish that maybe it was viewed more on how big the company is. Can they withhold something like that? It's really tricky, because in one aspect, here is me telling my partner, I can do this. Give me these big orders. Give me these POs. I'm going to fulfill them. I can make it happen.
Yeah.
So they're treating me as more than just a small business, which I do like, because I want to change that narrative. I don't want to always stay small. But then I am not in the position sometimes as other larger brands or companies to have
Yeah.
all this capital or access to capital. So that's where it becomes a little bit tricky. And granted, I've done pushback in the past, but now as I'm growing, I do not say no to anything. I say yes. I make it work. This is where the sacrifices happen.
Hmm.
And this is where you, as an individual, have to decide what's more important. Are you able to do this? Is this what you really want? And because I really want this, because I really want to stay in retail and I value this partnership, I am doing whatever I can to make it happen.
Right. Do you think that it would be useful, like with their DEI initiatives, if they took into account the net 60 and modified that? Like, what if, you know what
They
I mean?
are creating better programs. So it's my understanding that they have a new program for BIPIC brands where you can use their third party to get paid out sooner on invoices. There is a percentage. I haven't explored what that is, but it is a new program that they are implementing. So I do
Yeah.
appreciate that there is that option. If I wanted to get cashed out sooner on an invoice, I believe it goes from 60 to maybe 30 days. I want to say 18 to 30 days. Again, I don't know what the percentage is, but you do have to pay a percentage. And if you're okay eating that because you really need the funds, that is a new program that they've rolled out and they've,
Got it.
yeah, shared. And I believe it is focused for BIPEC brands, woman owned brands, and so forth. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, if they want more of us on the shelves, it kind of, you know, that kind of,
I don't even think that it's they want more. I think that there's brands that are realizing they need to do better. And I'm grateful that Macy's is one of those. I read a lot of like how much shelf space. I think there's a lot of companies that still need to do better, and
yeah.
I'm grateful that I'm with a partner that I can wholeheartedly say they are definitely trying to spend the budget that where they're in the millions every year of saying we need to. Right now, this PO, they didn't have to do this, but this is
Mhm.
part of their D initiative saying this is how much we're going to give back to this company and this company and this company this year to
Yeah.
highlight them. And so oh shit, I just realized that I probably shared already something I wasn't going to share. But
Oops. You heard it
you
here.
heard it here. I feel like I've been tippy toeing around the 400 stores. So I might as well just share that yes, it is 400 plus Macy's stores. Y'all heard it here. So which is very big, y'all, because I'm only in 5 stores currently. So now,
And online.
and online, now you will literally come September be able to find me in over 400 Macy's stores across the US, including Hawaii. And it's mind blowing because now it's like every little town, places that people have said, well, is it the Macy's near me? When I looked at it, took me hours to like print out the exports. It's a level of visibility I never thought I'd reach or achieve.
Hmm.
It's wild. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm super excited. I think until it happens, I'm going to like be in the moment and processing because right now I'm still processing it. Like, what
Right.
is that
Yeah.
going to look like to be able to walk into like every single Macy's, like even just in my home state of California, it's every single one. What does that look like to see yourself? But for somebody else to see themselves, to see a candle in Spanish with a very resilient word and phrase and
Hmm.
meaning. And I was
Yeah.
very intentional about that, y'all. Like super
Yeah.
intentional
That's
about
so good.
that. I shared it with Carla before I shared. Like, I remember when I said, Carla, they're asking for like an inclusive term that celebrates our community. And for me, it was just what better way than that term?
You nailed it.
Yeah. And so I really do hope that my community comes out and our allies and supporters in droves and just sells me out and
Sell
shows.
her out because that's true. The
Yeah.
retailer needs to see that this
Yeah.
product moves. So,
Yeah.
like, when this comes out, I need y'all to go to Macy's,
Yeah.
take pictures, tag,
Yes.
all of the
Hashtag
things.
hashtag Casita Michi, tag us. There's no excuse now. So you Wisconsin, but
Don't
like
be lazy.
there's no excuse. I literally looked at I'm in like the smallest towns in like Vermont. So you can't even say, well, you are not at my I was like, send me your name of
I'm
your
gonna
city.
send you the Google Map
Yes,
directions.
and I will show you that I'm in the and I'm going to show you that I'm in the Macy's near you. But yeah, I really hope that our community comes out as they've been doing for me and really shows this retailer, one, our buying power, like
Mhm.
we spend money, our buying power, and that this is a product that continues to be needed, embraced, and wanted, and not just even for
Yeah.
our community, for our supporters, for our allies. It's a quality product, y'all. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's not coming without sacrifices, obviously, that I'm sharing today.
Hmm.
But I think that the overall goal and picture, the representation and the celebrating of our culture, is what drives me to keep pushing through.
Hmm. You're doing amazing. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I am, because you're pursuing your passion project.
Hmm.
And I just love when we get to talk and share and like just support, elevate, and just root for each other wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing it. We're doing it.
We
I
are.
I, post, I posted my first YouTube video yesterday. It's just me talking nonsense. It's just like a 4 minute introduction thing. And the voice, I think the sound quality was an issue. But anyways, I have overthought that first video so many times. So I decided I'm just gonna record it, and if it's
Good.
shit, that's fine.
Good.
That's the starting point. And I talked a little bit about like being first gen, and like that means that you don't have any blueprint. It's always fuck around and find out.
Look,
So
I'm glad you posted it. That's like you being vulnerable and just saying,
yeah,
"This is me, y'all." Like, so I'm gonna go watch it. I can't wait.
thank
And
you.
like,
Like and subscribe.
I need a few minutes of nonsense in my life. Like, and I'm sure
You
other
know?
people do too. We need to get out of the routine sometimes. So that's why we go and we listen to our favorite people, because it's kind of nice to like know that real life exists. Like
Yeah,
I think I'll speak for both of us. I think this is what we hope to share for our community. It's like we want you guys, whether it's that 30 or 45 minutes that our episodes go on for, we want you to be able to just detach from whatever it is that's going on in your life that may be hectic or chaotic. And we want you to just share with us, like, this is real life, y'all. We're just going to keep talking about like real life, because I think sharing all of this, especially in our cultura, will help people push through, get through, realize they're not alone. And these are the topics that we wish we had growing up.
yeah, absolutely. I think a lot about how we can create like more self-compassionate narratives and like space for nuance. Like we're both Latina candle makers. We're not the same people, obviously.
Yeah,
Also like
we
different
have
ways of
casita in our name, but we are not the same people.
yeah, our lifestyles, you're a mom and like I want to be out in the streets all the time. You want to be in your house. No, I'm just kidding. I am actually
Actually, I feel like I want to be in the streets all the time. And Carla's like,
yeah.
I'm trying to get Carla out in the
Yeah, it's hard to
streets.
get me out of the house, y'all. I don't know. I take it back. But there's something about like just connecting to so like I did yoga therapy, and one of the things they taught us about is like when you're feeling like very kind of spiteful to the world, what you're missing is like in the doshas, it's like you're low in one of the doshas. Sorry, it's I'm now mumbling. Fuck. Pitta kapha. It's kapha. And what the meditation that's recommended for that one is like, how can I create love in the world? How can I be open hearted to the rest of the world? And it's about
Yeah.
like connecting to this influx of like this river of energy that is just surging through the universe at all times, that we're all interconnected through. And to get into that stream and to find love and compassion for yourself and for others, that's what
That's big.
helps regenerate you.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
that's
God, there's
something.
so much truth in that now that you put it that way. Because
Yeah.
I notice that I feel better when I'm vibrating and exuding love onto others in a
Yeah.
more compassionate way, even just in my tone and my delivery, which I've been really working on over the past few years.
Yeah.
It helps me vibrate at a higher level.
It's a channel, it's a channel
Yeah.
that we forget to like dial into, because it's not profitable as capitalism. So they'd
Ugh.
rather have you working all the time.
Ooh, you're not wrong about
Right.
that. But I like
Anyways,
that. That's our takeaway. That's that's a good takeaway.
yeah. So that's what we're trying to do, y'all, in our own ways. We're just trying to love on everybody.
We really are. I think that's a good way to close today. Just
Yeah.
share, give more love, share more love, love ourselves,
Yeah.
love ourselves deeply. I think that when you love yourselves, it shows.
Mm.
I think that when you give yourself compassion, you're able to give compassion to others.
I try to remember that when I meet people who are like really judgmental, and it's always like, fuck. But they're harder on themselves, you know? And I know that. So now I'm like, when I see somebody who's hypercritical, I just have a lot more empathy for them,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's all you can do. I think that goes of any saying people that are judgmental, people that are narcissists, people that are insecure. They're all those things for a reason. But if we change the narrative of how we approach them versus being
Yeah.
dismissive of them, you never know who you could reach. You
Yeah.
never know who you could tap into or heal for that moment or for that day, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're all on our own wellness journeys,
all
all
the
of
time.
us.
Yeah. Well, as always, it's been a beautiful pleasure talking to you, sharing with you, allowing me to share. I love you. This
I
is
love you too.
beautiful. Till next week. Yes,
Yeah, I can't wait.
we got more for y'all. Okay,
Yeah.
so don't forget to tune in, subscribe, and what else? Anything else?
Yeah. Um,
Where can they
love,
follow you?
love.
Where can they follow you? I feel like
Okay,
we always got to remind them where can they follow us. Go.
that's true. So it's you can follow me at the Carla Corazon on Instagram, Carla Corazon on YouTube, and check out my blog, carlacorazon.com.
Awesome. And then you can follow me on Casita Michi on all socials. But I'm more active these days on Instagram and Threads, y'all. I do a thing called Chingona Advice of the Day. So if you guys are just looking for a little pick me up, I am trying to be as active and routine as possible in that because I think everybody needs a little pick me up. So follow me on Threads. And then if you'd love to just see what Carla and I are up to, follow us at Casita del Sol. And yeah, con amor and energy. We appreciate y'all. Bye.
Cuídate, bye.